can come out of the shadows and get right with the law.
So that they are out of the shadows, which the proponents of this bill repeatedly point to as their principal objective, to provide a legal status for those who are here illegally to be out of the shadows.
Out of the shadows.
We hear a lot about bringing illegal aliens out of the shadows.
We need to take people out of the shadows.
How many times have we heard that expression, out of the shadows? Listen, when it comes to illegal aliens, very few, if any, are really in the shadows. I mean, take a look at what showed up on Twitter. A Texas student sparking outrage after bragging on Twitter about living in the U.S. illegally. She tweeted, valedictorian, 4.5 GPA, full tuition paid for at UT, 13 cords/medals, nice legs, and I'm undocumented. Well, she certainly isn't modest, is she? And she's not in the shadows. We'd like to get your take on this as we invite your telephone calls at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. To talk about all of this, we're pleased to welcome in our panel on illegal immigration. First, the media director for the Federation for American Immigration Reform, Ira Mehlman. And also joining us, the executive director of the Conservative Hispanic Society, Chris Salcedo. Chris is also a host of the eponymously named Chris Salcedo Show. Gentlemen, we thank you both for your time. And Chris, let me begin with you. Yeah. The bragging of the illegal, undocumented, and a full scholarship to the University of Texas at Austin. What on earth is going on in this country?
I would just as soon she said thank you. I mean, wouldn't you? To all the taxpayers of the United States, thanks to our lax immigration laws. Instead, she was out there in front saying, hey, I'm illegal. What are you going to do about it? And the answer has been, courtesy of the majority of Democrats and a growing number, an alarmingly growing number of Republicans, we're not going to do anything about it. In the shadows, they say. I saw a lot of these illegal immigrants, or folks who looked an awful lot like them, out in at a Donald Trump rally in San Jose recently, flying Mexican flags. You know, JD, I was struck by that because if the positions were reversed, if it was a Hillary Clinton rally and some mostly people of color had walked out and was greeted by a white mob and they got beat up, flying the Confederate flag, what would we be hearing? Oh, the conservatives, it's racist America, conservatives are racist, fine. The headline did get written, but it was exactly the opposite. What happened is mostly people of color greeted white Trump supporters, pelted them with eggs, bloodied their faces, vandalized their cars, flying that flag of oppression, the Mexican flag. And the Brian Williams press, as I call them, called it a protest.
Yeah, there's no protest. That was a full-blown riot. Ira Mehlman, to you now. The situation that exists, it's not a matter of people being in the shadows. A lot of the folks who were part of that riot in San Jose, they were pretty well fed. We're taking a look at the numbers, and it appears that illegals to come to this country actually get more benefits than law-abiding Americans who have to look to the government for relief. What has tipped the scales in favor of those who are non-citizens, Ira?
Well, look, I think it's a combination of things. You have the Democratic Party, which sees these people as future constituents. They understand that if they can get amnesty for all these illegal aliens, that they're likely to register as Democrats because they're the party that distributes all of these goodies to people. The Republicans don't seem to get it, that, even if the Republicans support amnesty, they still remain the party that wants to cut government, wants to cut the government services. People who depend on these services are not going to vote for them, regardless of whether they support amnesty or not. And getting back to what Chris was saying, these people are not in the shadows. They attend the president's State of the Union address and sit with the First Lady. They lobby Congress. They go to state legislatures and lobby. The idea that somehow people are living in fear that they're going to be swept up and removed from this country at any moment is patently ridiculous, and the statistics bear that out. You have almost a better chance of winning the lottery than you do about getting deported from the United States these days. Wow. And that policy is going to continue as long as President Obama.
The sad
remains
thing
in
is,
office.
Ira and Chris, 10 years ago, I wrote the bill, the Enforcement First Act. If we just had enforcement only, that would go a long way. Tell you what, guys, let's go to the phones, hear what others across the country have to say. First to Newburgh, New York for Dawn. Dawn, welcome to Newsmax Prime. Hi, Dawn, are you there? Well, I tell you what, while we're waiting for Dawn, let's go to Big Sky Country, Bozeman, Montana for David. David, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
How are you doing?
Doing great, thanks, David.
Well, which topic do you want to start with?
Well, we are talking about illegals and, quote, out of the shadows. So give us your take on what we should be doing in this country. Should we deport those who've come here illegally? What's your take on the solution?
Well, I think, people who come in here illegally and take jobs from people, that's wrong. If you want to come into this country, come in legally and do the process just like they did 400 years ago. You got to do it. You got to play the game. You gotta obey the law. And David,
exactly
we
appreciate your perspective from Bozeman tonight. Let me turn to Chris Salcedo about this, because we've seen not only use of the term, quote, out of the shadows, but the other curious thing where the AP style book no longer uses the term illegal alien. You've seen illegal decoupled from the term immigration, and it seems that the open borders enthusiasts are trying to blur that line. Will the elites in this country and the leftists get away with that, in your opinion, Chris?
Well, yeah, the left, and it's been perpetuated by the aforementioned Brian Williams Press. I watched KCAL 9, a CBS affiliate story, when Mrs. Clinton was out there in California pledging to do everything she can for illegal immigrants, and within her first 100 days. And the KCAL reporter was lamenting, the illegal immigrants, they would love to support Hillary Clinton, but they can't because they can't vote, laying this predicate of sympathy for illegal immigrants in this country. Same thing out in Dallas, Fort Worth. That story came out today about that illegal immigrant who was a very smart illegal immigrant, 4.95 GPA. I mean, she took advantage. And I got to say something too, JD. That should be a lesson to all of our kids here, U.S. citizens, regardless of race, color, or creed. If she is an illegal immigrant, can put her nose to the grindstone and 17 AP courses and get a 4.95 GPA, we ought to be setting that standard for all of our kids. But the tone and tenor of this piece was, this poor illegal immigrant who came here, and frankly, my sister was diagnosed with cancer, was told that it was going to cost our family a fortune, but said, hey, if you're an illegal immigrant, we can give it to you for free.
It's just this situation where it seems to be an accommodation of those who have broken into our country illegally. Another call is coming in. This one's from Tennessee. Johnny, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Hey, JD. How you doing, buddy?
All right, Johnny. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. I appreciate what Newsmax is doing, putting the truth out there as opposed to what these other news networks are doing. I just got a little comment about, I just seen on the TV show, on your show there, where that girl had tweeted out, that she was a illegal alien. Now, when you come in, if you come into this country legally, I'll be the first one to shake your hand. But if you come in this country illegally, the only right you have to is not a college education. And just like the caller was talking, that you just finished up with, I'm a U.S. veteran, 100% disabled Iraqi vet, and where we have to wait for months to get into the VA, they'll go ahead and take these people in and put them right in, and do everything, and it don't cost them a dime.
And Johnny, not to interrupt, I'm sorry, though, time is growing short, but this is what Donald Trump has been speaking to when he has said it's unconscionable that illegals are being better treated than are our nation's veterans. And Johnny, we want to thank you for your service to our country, and we thank you for the call. Ira and Chris, I'm going to ask you to stay right there because we're going to come back and continue the conversation. We'll have more of your calls, too, and we'll dip our toe back into politics next.